functionality. It runs both on the web and on the mobile device. And I'd like to introduce you to Chris Kruger from InfoSol, who is going to present exploration views.
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, has anyone used Explorer or Exploration Views? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 people. That's good. The presentation is kind of an introduction to the tool, not very technical at all. So you that have used it probably know about as much as I do. So just speaking off of personal experience, things like that with the tool. The Exploration Views is actually an iPad application. It sits on top of Explorer, and I'll kind of explain how that works as well. So as far as today, the agenda, I'm just going to give an introduction, some key terms that will be referenced throughout the presentation, just a basic who, what, and why about the application, about the tool, and advantages and disadvantages. And a lot of those are based off of personal experiences, so especially the disadvantages. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of my disclaimer. Then I'll be giving a short demo on the tool as well, so a live demonstration on my iPad. Okay. So a few key terms: Explorer, information spaces, and Exploration View. The Explorer, the tool is actually embedded inside of your Launchpad within the 4.0 environment. It is purely a data discovery tool. It's very good for data analytics, really nice tool for analysts. Sits on top of a lot of data, and it can handle that very quickly. Really designed for, say, like OLAC cubes. It's great with HANA. The version that I have sitting on top of a UNX, or the IDT new universe format. Okay, and it handles this very well. It's easy to navigate through it. And so the big benefit is you have access to a large amount of data, and you can navigate and explore through that relatively quickly, relatively easily. The information space, what that is within Explorer, you can go from your business layer or your universe. You can actually go in a drag and drop tool, and you can take and you can build what's called an information space. And so it just is a group of objects that reference data from your database through the business layer. And so it's, again, very easy to navigate. You'll see in the demo that it's the top pane. You can scroll through what looks like tables. You can add and filter and do things like that with the data as well. Okay. And then the Exploration View is when you use the information space. When you find something that you like, say if you load data into a chart, or you find a piece of analysis that you like or that you want to share, or that you think that you'll come back to quite often and look for updates, you save the findings in the information space, and that then is an Exploration View. Okay, and you'll see the distinction between the two with the iPad application as well. Okay. So SBO, SAP Business Objects Exploration Views. Who is it made for? Like I said, I feel that it's made mainly for data analysts, people that really have a good grasp on what their data is, the formation of that data, basically can navigate through the tables relatively easy. You know, someone that would be familiar with, say, like the business layer, someone that could go into Webby and create a report relatively quickly because they're comfortable with the structure of their data and how it relates to their everyday business use. Again, hinging on that it's data exploration and analysis. Those that have built the Excelsius dashboards, I personally think that serves almost a whole nother purpose. They're kind of parallel as far as the direction of SAP, but this is geared, again, for the data analysts, as where the dashboards are, you can do more. You can do trend analysis. You can do a little bit deeper comparison. You can look at historical data. This is really what I like to say, what you see is what you get. As you go on, you see the data. You see basically the data at the surface level. You can play with it a little bit, but really you go in and you're looking at the data and you're exploring what is that situation. And again, making this distinction between analysis versus reporting. Analysis, seeing what the data is doing. Reporting, putting it into a format that's easily consumable by the end user. Okay, you can do a little bit of that with this tool, but again, it's not the same thing as your Webby and your Excelsius. So there is a good distinction there. They kind of serve two different purposes, if you ask me. And then why would you use this tool? Speed, power, huge amount of data that you can navigate through very quickly. It's easy to keep it organized, to see where you've been, to kind of switch back and forth, really kind of play around with your data. It's easy. There's really no learning curve to the tool at all. From your data source to Explorer, to an exploration view, to the exploration views, which is the iPad application. Really, from the first time I picked it up, when I first started playing with Explorer, to the time I was viewing my content on my iPad, I would say it was probably about an hour to an hour and a half. That takes into consideration getting my iPad syncing with my CMS and things like that. So very easy, really no learning curve, and that again is a big benefit. And then the amount of data that you can see with this. You'll get a taste of it because I'm going to show you some demo content that SAP had. You'll see the amount of tables on the top, and that'll just give you a little bit of a flavor as to how much it can handle. Okay. Advantages, again, a little redundant. I spelled it out pretty clear so far, but they focus on the speed, especially they like to say how good it would perform on top of a HANA. Their in-memory database really showcases that. Self-service, like I said, anyone can pick this up and sift through the data. It's just really the return on investment that you get out of what data you're looking at. You're not going to change the world by comparing two objects. You'll find a lot. You'll find it easily, but again, it serves kind of a different purpose. How easy it is to connect. I hit my CMS, it just synced up with all the content right there, and it was really right in the application, right there. And then online and offline. Do a lot of people use mobile devices to view their business objects content? No? Okay. One of the main distinctions with mobile solutions is the ability to go online and offline. Right, so online you have to have internet connection. A lot of times you have to be within your domain, so you may have to VPN in, right? A solution to that is to do offline content. There's some security features there that, if your iPad gets stolen, it's going to be saved on your local device. This has a good mix of the two. The online capability, you can actually look at the information spaces and the exploration views on your iPad, and you can interchange the data. You can make, explore a little bit more, almost like you would on top of the desktop. There's a little bit of functionality difference between desktop and iPad and the views that you can create and how powerful it is, but you can do quite a bit with the iPad when it's connected. As far as offline, the exploration views, or when you basically bookmark those findings in the information space, those exploration views are disconnected. So you get the charts, you can play around with the charts a little bit, but you can't change around the data that's driving those charts, driving those views.
Have you been able to compare the performance of Explorer with HANA as opposed to without HANA?
Personally, I have not. I've really just drawn it off of universes because, that's what's easiest for me to do. I mean, I have them there.
Using HANA. Is that right?
No, I'm not using HANA. I haven't used HANA. I've just used universes as the data source. Yeah.
Just to address that question, if you have about 3 to 4 million rows of data, you can get pretty reasonable performance with Explorer. Once you go beyond that, you need the hardware at the back end to accelerate it. So that's when you would be looking at something like a HANA or the accelerated version using some form of appliance or device to really speed things up.
Okay. And then again, disadvantages, just to throw kind of a disclaimer out there. This is off my personal experience. Compared to dashboarding, and I think a lot of you will attest to this, is it's got some limited functionality. You're limited to the views that they provide. Depending on the data that you bring, they basically tell you which charts that you can use to visualize that data. And so you'll see that in the tool, to where if I want to really get into my data, you start limiting, the different charts you can do. They have a lot of great views. They have some geolocation stuff, things like that. But really, your data has to fit their model. And then limited to the visuals included. Like I said, you can't go out and make some crazy dashboard like a lot of us have seen. So now, before I go into the demo, is there any questions at this point? Doing okay? All right. So this app you can just grab off of the App Store. It is free. You'll find two apps there. There's SAP Exploration Views, and then there's the SAP Business Objects Experience. This is just a newer version. So unless you're running an older version of Explorer, this is really the updated version of that application. So if you guys go and try it, you're going to want to download this. And it is free. You get some demo content as well. All right, so I'm going to first show you the offline capability. And if you look at the different environments, I actually have my 4.0 environment there. That's the content that I created off of a universe. But my content isn't as impressive as the demo content, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. But I will show you the offline views. I mean, these are very simplistic. Like I said, I just wanted to see how quick I could get something out there. So this is a chart. It's static. You can click on it. You can get just a label, some information about it as well. And this is something you can access in the offline version. And you can see how easy it is to switch back and forth from offline and online. It's just that button right there on the main screen. This is their demo content. You save a favorite. This was actually an information space that I was messing around with, and I wanted to save it. So if you save it as a favorite, you can look at it static, offline. And then exploration views, you'll see here the navigation is pretty straightforward, pretty user-friendly. Nothing fancy. So let's look in offline exploration view. All right. So you'll see on the left, it's a filter, but I'm not able to use it in the offline version because it can't go grab the data. Okay. So what you're seeing is static views. So you can make selections, and again, it's pretty static as far as the data it's representing, how you interact with it, everything like that. But it is nice to have this. If you have a sales force, you can send them their numbers. If they go into a client, they at least have something to show them. Okay. So we'll go ahead and connect here. So the speed isn't bad. I mean, to connect right there, you saw it only took a couple of seconds. Okay. We'll go into the same exploration view that we just looked at. European football, that's pretty popular in our office, obviously. So you can see now with the filter on the left, you can actually go and make selections. And so that's going to filter it in real time, bring you back the results that you want. So the big difference between offline and online is going to be this right here. So this is your information space. This is your data that you have that you can access. So it's quite a bit. Again, me personally, pure BI, this is a lot of information for a pure business intelligence solution because you're giving them a lot. You're not showing them what they need and focusing on those high-level metrics. But again, it's a very powerful tool. So let's just go and you could switch to year here, which you can select multiple. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Okay. And then let's pick a team. I don't know any of these teams or anything about football, but I think I've heard of Chelsea before. What's that? So you can see this is the statistics for the Chelsea team in year 2010, 2011. Have a nice array of displays right there, the views. And it automatically updates those views. So Excelsius, if anyone that's developed a dashboard knows, if you want to change a component, you're going to have to take some Advil and about half an hour, and you're going to have to redo it. So I really like the geolocation stuff, both in dashboards and in exploration views. But you can see, because the amount of data, it's not instantaneous. So it's got to go grab that and come back. So this is actually the goals by the players and what country they're from that play on Chelsea. Okay, it took me a while to figure that out. So we want to see both goals and misses, because this is going to give us an idea of their accuracy. All right, when I added another object, it automatically threw it into a chart to where it knew that it was compatible with the data, right? So let's see, what else do I want in here? So player country. All right. And let's just go ahead and switch this back to, if I push the button right there, I get the list of compatible graphs. Actually, let's do this. It's very easy to add and subtract objects. And now that I have what I know is compliant with the geolocation stuff, I'm going to do the geo bubble. I like this because it kind of gives you another dimension. It gives you the map, but the bubble size corresponds with the number of goals. All right? And you can do things like move this around. You can scroll through here. You can filter on this so it's easy to see, kind of in a spreadsheet or a graph type format. Or not graph, but grid. Okay. So that's the exploration view. Now if we go out, let's go look at the information space. And again, there's a distinction between the two, and I've clarified that, where one is a saved scenario with an information space. So we're going to go on the European football, because at least I know more about that than I do rugby. Again, with the information space, you can see the tables on the top. This is showing goals by year for all of the teams in the European League. And so if we want to, let's see, if we want to look at Chelsea again, this is going to be Chelsea's goals for the 2011-2012 season. Okay. If we want to, say, if we're a psychologist for the team, and we want to see who has an anger management problem, we can switch from goals and we can go down to cards, right? Because I think cards are if they lose their temper and foul someone. Okay.
What about flops?
Flops? I don't think they have a big enough chart for that. Is it?
Yeah,
Man, throw me a curveball on my demo paw. Okay, so you can see, let's throw this up here. All right, so it does a good job of letting you move things around in your real estate. So if I wanted to look at this, I would say, okay, Raul has by far the most cards, right, of the team. And so you can actually navigate through this. They give you a stacked bar chart. They give you like the color coding, so then you can go in and look by color. And you see the breadcrumb at the top. The more filters you put on, obviously the more filtered the data will be. But the nice thing is, with that breadcrumb, it's very easy to follow where you've been and what you're doing. And so if I want to go ahead and change the year, change the team, I would just click on that. If I want to see, you know, the angriest person in the league, I would just get rid of the team. And then let's go back to that first one so we can see their names. Right, and then we have, can't pronounce that name, but I think it's Avram. Avram. Great. So you can see, I mean, I feel like this gives you guys a good taste of the tool. It serves a very specific purpose, but it does that purpose very well, and it's very powerful. Okay? If I wanted to, we can email the findings, we can add it to the favorites, we can refresh the data, say if you guys have it connected. and you know you update your data every minute or 5 minutes, you can go ahead and refresh, and this would then take that into account. Let's see. Anger. So we'll save that to the favorites, and then next time you sign in, that's then in your favorites folder, and you'd be able to actually go and look at that chart and keep in mind, you know, what you found before. Okay? So that's really it for the demo. Did anyone have any questions about the tool? Did you want to maybe see something else? Keep in mind, too, that I'm going to be here all night, so you can stop by and I can show you stuff. But yeah, go ahead. You had a question?
Do you know if there are any significant changes between Explorer for XI3 versus VI4?
That's a good question because I really haven't used the tool outside of the 4.0 environment, but I'm pretty sure someone has.
Yeah, exploration views is right now for DI4, but the basic Explorer product runs today on XI 3.1, and Explorer for the iPad is available on XI 3.1. So the older Explorer version looks similar from the standpoint of, you know, the tables at the top, right? But the graphs aren't quite as sophisticated as they are, and the geo mapping and things like that as you now get in the latest version. But there are people out there using the Explorer and Explorer for the iPad version as well. So you can use it at XO3.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys.